I heard this quote once that I always think about that was like, anxiety is imagining the future without God in it.
That's a good
and I feel
one.
like
That is
it's,
so
I
real.
think I remind myself of that.
Get ready. It's time. Christina, Catherine, Lisa, Amy, and Lauren. Welcome to the Cimorelli podcast.
Hey, I'm Christina.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Amy.
I'm Lauren.
And we're Cimorelli. Your favorite podcast is back.
Hey.
Welcome back to
the Cimorelli podcast. Woohoo! Hey, guys. This is episode 224.
Wow.
Lessons learned. What did you say?
Of our recent in the past recent times, I don't know.
Oh, it was so good.
Lessons we've learned as of late.
What are you learning
It's kind
in
of
this
this
season
year.
of life?
Okay, yeah. This
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
There's
It's like
even-
we made it to the first half of the year, so we're like, what have
did
you learned from the first half?
I
year
feel
been?
like I've
What's your
learned
theme?
a
Year.
thing or two.
Yeah, a few things.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I've learned a few
This
things.
year's been wild.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it has. TBH. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be getting into that momentarily.
Yeah, I'm like, whew. Oh.
So, firstly, let's start with what are your highs and lows of the week?
What are they, ladies?
Yes, I was born.
But I
Can't stop singing Lesson Learned by Alicia Keys.
I love that song.
And then
Just
Amy
in case you
singing,
guys don't know.
It was a scary bear, a very scary bear.
It
He was a scary bear. He was a na-na.
You describe him with adjectives.
Oh, it's Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh.
Adjectives.
It's a good one. Oh, okay, I can go. I got one. Okay. Dang it. Okay. My high. Okay, my high is that now there's a hair in my mouth. Now that I have a 4-year-old Barrett,
Oh, that's so weird.
he does have so many moments where I'm like, wow, this is the easiest child in the world.
Wow.
Then he has the moments where I'm like, this is the most difficult child. But I'm just saying lately, this is my high, is that he keeps having all these like really amazing, easy moments. Like he wants to run in and get Tristan up and he like turns light and he goes like, good morning, sweet girl. Do you want to turn the hatch off? And he like holds up the hatch for her to turn off. And then he's like he's just really sweet to her and like helps her up. He's like, we're gonna go downstairs. You want to play, whatever. And then he's like really sweet. And then he like puts, okay, this is his recent thing. He loves cooking pizzas. So he takes the tongs and we cut the pizza in half. Okay, so it fits in the toaster oven, and he puts the tongs and puts it in the toaster oven, and then he like really wants to put it in and shut it and then turn it on, and then be the one to get it out with the tongs and put it on the plate. So he makes the whole thing by himself. He gets it out, he does it all, and I don't do any of it.
Wow.
And then he also makes his own coffee. I let him make decaf instant coffee, which is literally like a quarter teaspoon. And he gets everything out except for that. He can't reach that. So he gets everything. He gets his special cup. He gets his milk.
So
he
cute.
gets the chocolate syrup. He gets the decaf. And then he like fills it up with water. He puts it all in. And he uses my milk frother. And he like mixes it up. And then he rinses it off and cleans it. And then puts it back away. And puts every single thing away.
Okay.
Oh my
And makes the
God.
whole
Slay.
thing.
That
And then
is
he
adorable.
normally spills it. And then he goes, oh, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He said before he tells me anything, he was like, sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'll clean it up.
Oh,
Cute.
So that is my high, is that he's doing so many independent things. And I'm like, wow, this child is an angel. But then not all the time.
He is a challenger.
He contains multitudes.
Oh my.
The most
Gosh.
multitudes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway,
You
So,
will not tell
that's
me what
my-
to do.
that's my high. What's my low of the week? Yeah, see, I always try not to say a low that has to do with sleep because I feel like every week has a low that has to
But
do
that
with sleep.
is a low. That's a true low.
My low is I have been so bad with my journaling and therefore so bad with my sleeping.
Yes.
It's classic.
So it is sleep.
But I'm turning into a journaling one. I just have so much on my heart and my mind. And then I tell myself like, you don't need to journal about that. Like, you don't really feel that deep about that, or like, that didn't hurt that much, or like, that didn't really hit you that hard. But then it's like, it keeps popping in my head, and I'm like, yeah, it did.
That's tough.
Yeah, it did. SMH. So that's my problem.
No, getcha.
Repressing my feelings.
Yeah, I hate
Classic.
that. That'll get.
Relatable.
Just the classic.
Yeah.
It's what girls do.
Yeah.
Nope. It's not.
I don't think any men have ever repressed an emotion.
Just girly things.
ever.
Just human thing.
All right,
Yeah.
next. Highs and lows.
Okay, my low
Just human
was
things.
Sunday, first half of Sunday, because I woke up and I was like so exhausted. My throat felt dry and a titch of the itch, and I was like, am I coming down with something? Is it allergies? Then Lisa's like, can you come help me? And I was like, no, because if I have a titch of the owl or a cold, like if I have a cold, I can't bring a germ within 100 meters of you.
Yeah.
So that's just not going to happen. And I felt like I was committing a war crime, but she understands, obviously. And
Committing a
so
war
then I
crime.
had to I tried to hardcore rest. And then I went to the pool because I was like, oh, if I lay in the like warm outside, it's August. It's supposed to be hot. It wasn't that hot. It was like in the shade. You were there. It was not rare. It was not hot. It was like
we can't
barely
believe you.
warm, and it was like a little breezy, and it wasn't giving what I needed to give. Because like when I feel like I could be coming down with something,
You
the
want to lay in
purpose
the
for
heat?
laying in the heat is that in my brain it feels like it simulates a fever where you sweat out the toxins.
So you just visualize that
So
happening
I
in your
want
body.
to be
now?
like
I
sweating
see.
out what's wrong with me, and it always
Okay.
actually works.
Okay.
See, I tried to
I
do that
see.
when I had mono, and every time I went outside, I felt absolutely
Well, I
horrible.
think that's different.
Yeah.
My
I feel
body
that too,
was just
though.
like panicking.
Like
I think
after
that's
being out
different.
in the heat, I feel like
I felt
like it
so
took
much
everything
worse.
from me.
Yeah, and sometimes I do feel like that, but then I have some water and a snack and I feel better. But
I thought the sun would like zap the virus out of
No,
me.
it just zaps you.
well,
Yeah.
I think that mono is a
Exactly.
different beast.
Yeah,
It's not like the common cold.
Yeah.
So true.
You don't say.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Anyway.
That's why it wouldn't work. Okay.
Okay.
But then I felt better. What is a high? I don't know. Oh, I went to the pool 2 nights ago, and it was really good.
Oh, that's when you
It
sent
was
us that pic
very
or whatever.
nice. Yes.
You're like
It
listening
was
to the
so
song.
pretty. I was listening to our song we were talking about last time. I was just swimming around, you know, no one was at the pool, so I was just alone, and it was quiet. It was great.
Love it.
So that was great. And then I went for a walk, and then I came home. It was really good. So that was a great night.
You really thrive in summer.
Yes.
It's your time to thrive.
Yes, I get terrified at the end of summer.
Oh,
when the
because
pool
you run
closes.
so cold in the summer, you're not dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I run as cold anymore, actually. But I
Please.
love to be.
You said it wasn't that hot. the other
because
day.
it wasn't actually
No,
hot.
the other day, I don't know what day,
Sunday,
it wasn't that
it wasn't
hot.
that
One
hot.
of those days, it was not that
I was
hot.
outside trying to
Please.
get warm, but it wasn't that warm. It was
Yeah.
like warm, but it wasn't super hot.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know about that.
It wasn't like, and the shade is a lot cooler than the heat. You guys need to know that.
I know that, Aim.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you, Lauren. I feel like I had something else to add, but I don't remember what it was. About being oh no, the reason I thrive in summer is because I thrive being in the outdoors.
Love it.
I need to be
Who
outdoors.
doesn't?
And
we
then
were
in
made
the
to be
fall
outside.
and the winter, I feel like I'm trapped
Yeah.
in a ceiling,
You just got to get a good parka.
holding
go
my
outside.
soul down.
I like being indoors.
I hate it.
Ugh.
I need to be outside. I can be
Indoor cat.
outside for years and years
an
and
outdoor
years,
cat.
and it makes me so happy.
Oh, I need an outdoor place that feels like you're in the indoors, but you're out.
That's why I love when men have
Yeah.
a mountain pick on their dating apps, because I'm like, I love the outside. That's what I realized.
Well, Nick and I were just talking about this
it's
week.
not about the man, it's about the mountain.
We keep talking about our next house a lot recently, and like trying to plan that out,
Ooh.
and talking about how much we need like a living room or something that like opens up into the outside and has like an outdoor area that's like
You need indoor outdoor
A covered
living.
porch.
yeah.
Yes.
Screened-in porch.
It's like an outdoor living room kind of area.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
We need
Yeah.
something like
Guys,
that.
sitting
That's
on a
fine.
screened-in porch during a thunderstorm. Can you imagine the
Iconic.
magic
I
that
love
would
it.
await
I
you?
can't.
I just, I need to be outdoors. I do.
I think we were meant to be outside.
I need to see the
truly.
sky.
Like us as humans.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
just don't like bugs. So
see, I
other
don't
than
care.
bugs,
Eat
that's
me
why I
alive,
love
whatever.
fall because it's so nice out and it's
love
really
fall.
comfortable and all the bugs go back
I don't
to
like
HEL
fall
where they belong. As they
because
say.
where am I going to go outside?
On a walk.
I don't have a pool
Anywhere.
anymore. I don't have anywhere to sit.
In the trees.
What? Isn't your
And
pool
we
open?
live in
Go to a
6
park.
hours.
A
Isn't your
crisp,
pool
crunchy
open
leaf.
for a while?
Sit at
It's
a
open
park.
until like first weekend of October.
Mine's open all of October.
Strolling a nature
Wow.
trail.
Just saying.
Okay.
A hay bale. Okay.
Okay.
All right. My low.
I'm sorry, do I look like I own a hay bale?
I would say my low is just postpartum smacking me in the face. You know, mentally.
Yeah.
Just kind of, it just catches up to you. Feeling like trying to get out of the house is like lifting 1,000-pound weight.
Yeah.
But then inside the house is so overstimulating and you're like, I can't escape. I
You're
just,
almost 3 months.
I'm 4 months.
Wait, what?
Postpartum. 4.5 actually.
Oh, you're
But-
almost 5 months.
Yeah, I'll be 5 months in like 2 weeks.
That's one of the parts. That time is one of the parts where I take a nosedive.
It's really hard. Yeah.
4 months,
is
I take
really
a
hard.
nosedive.
A lot
in
of
4
people I've
months.
seen write about this like on social media and they're like, you're still really in the throes of it. You're still really sleep deprived. The baby's like just kind of unpredictable still. You're just like, you're still pretty fresh, but people aren't really like helping you anymore. In the beginning, you have a lot of help. So that's, or hopefully you do. I hope so, because you deserve help. Not everyone has help, which is really sad.
You know what? You want to hear the slayest, most slay ever?
What?
I was just talking to my friend who's pregnant right now. Her husband is getting an 8-week paternity leave.
Wow.
Wow.
8 weeks.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That is the biggest slay I've ever heard.
That is a sleigh. Yeah, so I don't know, just trying to pull myself out of the garbage can of mental health. I have a great therapist, so
Good.
love her. But yeah, I'm definitely still in the garbage can.
Challenging times.
I'm trying to not isolate, which that is the problem. I've been isolating, and I also was sick last week, so that was part of it. Can't really avoid that.
That makes you depressed.
But just kind of realized, like, you can't just listen to podcasts. You have to, like, actually talk to people,
Oh, so true.
or else you will be sad.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Too real.
My high was I had a really fun, unexpected. It was a low turn high of like Max was going to coach, so I was on my own, and it was like the witching hour when the
Low
boys
turn
get real
high.
crazy with like the evening time. It's just Christina knows. I know they call it what do they call it? Closing shift. That's what moms call it. Closing shift. The last couple hours before your kids go to bed, when everything
You have no energy, and your
goes-
kids start ramping up and being insane.
and you're trying to make dinner, and you're like,
please
"Eh."
stop, and they're like,
They're screaming, they're scaling the walls. But I was like, I'm not staying in this house for closing shift by myself. We're going to the park. So I packed them up. It was a beautiful day.
cute.
So beautiful. We went to the park. It's right by a fire station. And there was firefighters outside washing the fire trucks.
Oh, cute.
And it was so cute. It was like a fun little summer moment. It was nice to be outside. I haven't been outside much this summer.
yeah, same. I'm like, what the heck am I doing?
Yeah.
My low, I would say just general sorrow and grief.
Life
You know,
is
on life's travels.
hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what do we got to be optimistic about?
Life's a nightmare.
But
That
not
is
really.
an iconic line
Not
that
really.
Alex
I
said in a
don't
play.
think that life's a nightmare, but
What are we
you
gonna be
know,
up to?
Or Laura, Max is in my favorite meme, which is this man's Facebook picture. And then someone commented, a smile would be nice. And then he responded, not much to smile about in my life.
yeah,
That's one of my faves.
Oh my god.
So just
into the thick of it.
on the journey.
Into
How
the
much
thick
to
of it.
smile about?
Not much to smile about.
My high is
Plenty to
is
cry
a,
about.
Yeah. My high is an anticipated high. Going on a weekend getaway.
Oh, I love
for my
it.
friend's birthday, like
For
a little
mom's birthday.
staycation for like a one
Cute.
night. It's like somewhere. It's like an hour away from
I'm
here.
so
It's, like,
annoyed because
cute, like Airbnb in the mountains.
I'm missing the
you
night.
know.
I'm gonna drive
Well,
up the next day. I think.
Not in the mountains, in like the woods. I don't know.
Nick keeps saying he
love
wants
it.
us to do that, but I'm like, do you realize how tired we're gonna be after we do that with
We'll
children?
just go for like one night. How is that different?
Oh my gosh, because they're gonna be
Because
sleeping
we're
somewhere
Oh,
new.
Yeah, yeah.
Although
not gonna-
they did really well actually last time we did that.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
That's really fun.
Chillax. Maxing real cool. Shooting some b-ball outside.
Great.
Oh my god.
Love that.
No, you and Nick,
Yeah.
I could potentially stay overnight with the children. You guys could just go for one night.
You gotta bring someone else so you don't have the worst day of your life. They're really good now.
Hey,
No, I'm saying for one day I could do that.
I'll bring the twins and add to the chaos.
I'm saying bring someone else.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good now. Bedtime's easy. They don't wake me up because Barrett said, "Can I have a hug?" in the middle at 3 a.m. the other night. But they do
I think
well
I
now.
could manage it. If you and Nick wanted to go for one night
They do well
somewhere,
now.
I think I could do it actually.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I can lose one night. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if
think
you
that
would
much
lose
anyway.
it. I think it would go well.
yeah.
I think it would go well. Maybe. You never
You
know.
think?
Yeah, you never know these days. In this economy.
Yeah.
You never know. Okay, so highs and lows, moving on. Okay, we're going to go to the lessons we've learned thus far this year.
Thus far.
So before we get into that, I want to say Lisa's not here because she's supporting her husband through his cancer treatments. Please keep her and their whole family in your prayers. And, Patreon. You got to join our Patreon if you want to see every full episode of the Cimorelli podcast. It's patreon.com/Cimorelli, link in the description. And you get all the episodes plus all the past stuff we've done. We've done like past series, like things we don't talk about. And I can't think of one other one. We've definitely done multiple ones. Can't think of any of them. We did a bunch of Monday Q&As and we're just now switching to Motivation Monday. I always want to say Motivational Monday.
Bringing it back.
Motivational Monday. Motivation Monday. Which one
Well, I
feels
feel
good?
like-
Motivation Monday. Sounds
Motivation Monday.
better. Yeah.
And this is one we used to do, and we're going to bring it back, and I think it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, especially
We
we're
give you-
wiser now.
We give you
a pep talk.
Motivations.
Every
a pep
Monday.
talk. We talk about something we learned or something that's getting us through the day or just something important to us. So each one of us every Monday, a different one of us is going to give you that motivation that you need to start your week.
I love that.
I think it's going to be invaluable.
I agree.
Just saying. Okay, so let's get into the lessons we've
Lessons
learned.
learned.
I'm thinking we just go down and we each do one, and then we just go down and we each do one.
Love it.
Start with you?
No.
Oh.
You.
Oh my gosh, people
You
these
love
days.
to talk.
Yeah, you love to chat.
Okay. I was having a hard time, which I think is actually bad.
Oh.
I was having a hard time identifying the lessons, which is the
I
problem.
was too, because it's kind of vague.
I was like, well, I had a lot of problems. And I know there are lessons in there, but I was like, what?
What was the lesson?
But some of them were like things I already knew.
It's okay.
So then it's like I relearned the lesson. I mean, does that count?
Yeah.
But okay, but I did my best. Okay, so the first lesson for me, is I've been talking about this a lot lately. Okay, the lesson that I relearned this year really like drove home in my head that we've talked about so much lately is how much my thoughts, thinking, mindset, how much positivity actually does matter. And I threw that out for the last few years. I threw it out. I was mad. And
I know it.
sank into like a victim mindset of my own
Not very
creation.
demure.
Not very demure.
Not very mindful.
And definitely not very mindful.
Not very cute.
Not very cutesy either. I sank into that.
Oh, we'll tell you about it later.
I sank into that as of late, aka the last 5 years, pretty much, as of becoming a mother, pregnancy, etc.
You just
My
went
brother
through a
says
lot.
etc. And yeah, I became a victim.
And you let it harden your heart.
Yeah. It turned me into, have we said this phrase in the podcast before? Doggy paddling in the toilet.
We probably have.
Don't you feel like motherhood? You have to fight to not feel like a victim sometimes, because you're like, wait, nope, I'm not a victim.
You're like, I'm a victim.
You have to
of
remind
all this, and you're
yourself.
like, oh wait, I wanted this.
That's tough.
And you're like, oh wait, I actually do have control over a lot of
and
this.
you're like, I am the adult here. Oh yeah.
And you're like, oh wait, I am the adult here.
I am the one
Like, I'm
making
just
all
a
of this
victim.
work.
These children are toddlers.
Dot. You're like, yeah, I'm the one in my 30s. How do I get around this one? So basically, I became a victim, and I threw out. I was like, what do we got to be optimistic about? Life's a nightmare.
Not much to smile about.
And I became doggy paddling in the toilet, which is when, doggy paddling is when people who can't swim when they go like this in the pool. They're doggy paddling, you know what I'm talking about? And then you're just in the toilet, like trying to get out of the toilet. It's like you fell in the toilet.
But you can't swim.
But you can't swim, so you're just sitting there like this.
Around.
And you need to like get out of the toilet. But all you're doing is just living your life constantly doggy paddling in the toilet. So that's where I was. I don't know how that yeah. So anyway, I kind of over the years, over the last few years, was just like, that was so stupid. I used to be into all that like motivational stuff and blah blah blah, and I became like disillusioned. And I was like, what do we got to be optimistic about? Life's a nightmare. Like, what's the point of this? Blah blah blah. Stupid.
Like, I can't motivation my way out of this one.
Yeah, which was wrong. And I was like, I'm just being realistic. Life is a nightmare. And I tricked myself so badly. into thinking I was being so realistic.
Because pessimism can look like realism.
Yeah.
Really easily.
Exactly. True. I thought I was being so realistic because I was going like, yeah, today was bad. Yeah, yesterday was bad. So, yeah, tomorrow is going to be bad. And I was like, that's called
predictive
realistic. So then I realized that when I have that mindset, then I was right. The next day was going to be bad. So I was right. But
that's
then I
tough.
was like, one of those things where
quote,
you don't want to be right.
Whether you think you can or
you
can't, either way, you're right. Ooh,
it was real. Now, it is harder when you choose the opposite one, when you choose like that you're going to get your hopes up and that you're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to get out of this toilet. And you're like, I'm going to look up some positive quotes. I'm going to watch some positive videos or like a movie that's uplifting or whatever the heck. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to set goals. When you choose that, it is hard because you do set yourself up for inevitable heartbreaks. There are heartbreaks.
It's really vulnerable.
It's very vulnerable. When you make goals, no matter how small or big, you're going to get your hopes up and you're going to have pain along that path. It's going to happen. So it's very scary and vulnerable to do that. However, the other way of living, it just sucks all the time.
Yeah.
So you can be like, well, I don't want to get my hopes up anymore. I don't want to, whatever. But then after a while, you just get sick of that and you're like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm sick of this.
For free.
So that is the thing I learned this year is that I really finally got through my head. I was like, you know what? We're not doing that anymore. We're done with that. I don't care how negative, how bad things are. I already know what it's like to do that for literally months/years on end. I already know what comes out of that. It's not good. It's so depressing. It's not what I want. I know that now. So I'm like, we're not doing that anymore. Yes, it's scary to be vulnerable and get your hopes up. Yes, it hurts at times, but it's so much better. And it really is like the wholehearted living Brene Brown talks about. That's what that is when you choose to set goals, get your hopes up, believe in yourself. It's kind of like believe in the impossible or in what you think. It's kind of crazy what we think is impossible versus what's actually impossible. But I mean, when you're in like the thick of it in motherhood, things that seem impossible, like the idea of ever sleeping again can literally seem impossible.
Yeah.
And you can look at it and be like, you're being dramatic. You will sleep again. But in the moment, that does feel impossible. So if you think about that, to believe in the impossible means to believe that you will sleep again. And that sounds easy, but I didn't want to believe in the impossible in those moments. So I really did resign myself to the mindset of like, I will never sleep again. So, that really sucks to live in that, because then every day you think about how you're never going to sleep again, which makes you like more depressed and more tired and more stressed. Yeah. And then it makes you sleep worse.
And it makes you afraid of going to sleep too.
Yep. It's just all negative. It's so not a good I'm done with that lifestyle. I gave the victim lifestyle a spin and I didn't like it.
And it spun you out.
And it sucked. So we're done with that. So yeah. That's my lesson. Not all the lessons will I talk about for 20 minutes straight, but some of them.
That's a good lesson.
That's a really good
Some
one.
of these lessons will be short, some and sweet, and some will be long. So anyway, next lesson.
Okay, so the first lesson that comes to mind is really the trueness of the Bible statement, quote, whatever, passage, whatever you call it, of sufficient for each day is its own evil. Because that is too real, okay? Sufficient for today is its own evil. I don't need to be pre-gaming tomorrow's evil. I don't need to do that. I don't need to pre-game next month's evil, next year's evil, because that just adds stress and depression and fear to today. Today, I need to deal with what I need to deal with today. I don't need to deal with what I need to deal with tomorrow. It's so bad.
Lisa's been talking about this a lot recently. I think she was getting it from therapy. I don't know. But she was talking about living in the moment a lot and how much she's like realized that this year, especially.
Yeah.
And she said it a few times, and it has really hit me, because it's like when you have something really difficult going on in life, there's plenty of things you can stress about in the future, and you just live in that, like you are screwing up today. So I've been really inspired by Lisa with what you're saying.
Yeah, because
did you get that kind of from her too, or no? Is that coincidence?
This is just something that's been happening to me lately.
Coincidence.
And it's both things. It's kind of like my life's work is learning this, because I'm a professional ruminator, as we know. That's why I'm in therapy
too.
So it's like I will ruminate,
the
cry,
OCD queens.
depress myself about things that actually don't even end up happening.
Oh.
So I spend hours of my life.
You know what? I don't quite do that.
Ruminate, but
You're
it's
on
like
your own with that one.
Thank you. But it's like something that could happen. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a real possibility, and then it just doesn't end up happening. So it's like,
I'm more like, this person hates me,
yeah, stuff like that.
which could happen.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like,
Okay.
it's something that you think is real, but you could be ruminating, this person hates me, and they don't even hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
guess
it's
that
like
does happen.
you like waste that time. So it's like I'm trying really hard to learn to like live in today and focus on the things that I need to do and deal with today. And then just like, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, which sounds so lame and dumb, but it's like in the best and the worst ways, things shock you every single day.
So true.
Too real.
So you don't know if tomorrow's going to be an incredibly shocking, horrible thing, or an incredibly shocking, amazing thing, or nothing shocking at all.
Doesn't it feel like, for everyone to feel like this, you're not living in reality if you don't let yourself do that? You're like, wait, but I have to think about this. Or
Yes.
else I'm not being realistic. I can't just ignore that, but
That's how it feels to
but
the
we
OCD
do
mind.
have
Yeah.
to ignore it.
You have to keep
no,
a
this is so
tight
relevant.
leash on your thoughts, because a lot of it is just irrelevant facts.
I heard this quote once that I always think about that was like, anxiety is imagining the future without God in it.
That's a good
And I feel
one.
like
That is
it's,
so
I think I
real.
remind myself of that every time I'm worrying about something that's in the future, because I'm like, wait,
That is so
but when you get to
good.
that thing, even if it is really hard and bad, God is still going to be there. You're not going through it alone.
Wait, that
I
is
think about that a lot.
such a good quote.
And also,
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
this is a pro tip for people that have a lot of anxiety. Sometimes, in some cases, like my own case, my very own personal case, you could be experiencing intense anxiety as a symptom of OCD. And if you don't get the
That's me.
OCD like handled, if you don't go to a therapist that actually specializes in
I need to
OCD,
do that.
then your anxiety is not going to be helped, actually.
It's a
It's
symptom.
not going to
It's
work
not the
because it's a
cause.
symptom of the OCD. So,
That is
like,
such a
I
good
lived
point.
my entire life with, like, a lot of really severe anxiety from OCD. So, the things that you would do for anxiety, like, they don't really, because, like, imagining, no offense, this is not about you, but, like, imagining a future without God in it, it's like, it doesn't really help with the OCD gods. You have to be brutal.
Helps me with mine.
We can't really
for you.
imagine our future is the problem.
No, it does. That's good.
We need
Yeah.
to stop.
I have to be brutal with myself and be like, no, you cannot think about that anymore. You've already thought about it 300 times today.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. 'cause
301 time being like, God will be in my future, which is great. It's just, it doesn't help.
You're
I have
still
to.
going.
Yeah, we
over
can't
and
keep
over.
doing
I
it.
start
Yeah.
Oh, we can't
actually
reason with it.
obsessing about
Yeah.
the solution to the problem then.
Ours is like a conversation that you actually have to stop
You
having.
have to say, cancel.
Because it never actually is a conversation. It is just
Yes,
a torture.
you just
It's like
ruminate.
literally just torturing of
Yes,
one thing.
it's
There's
torture,
no conversation.
torture. And you have to say, I can't torture myself
I've learned a lot
anymore.
about OCD from TikTok. I should actually just go see a therapist for my OCD specifically.
Yeah, it's really
I've never
like-
done that specifically because I always was like, yeah, I have OCD, but it's not really that much of a problem.
It is a problem. I would like to shout out to Kath for finding me my very own personal
Who specializes?
therapist who specializes in OCD.
Maybe I need to see
who
yours.
has changed my life.
Love it.
She's
Guys, this
great.
is my number one tip in finding a therapist. I found many. Is search for obviously your area and stuff, they have to be in your state, but like the specialty that you want. If you have depression, search for someone who specializes in depression.
Not
grief,
like, oh, they
whatever.
have that on their list, but like that's their thing.
Yeah, most therapists write a bio and they'll talk about the thing that they feel the most equipped to help you.
Yeah, because not every therapist works in the same. They all work in different ways because every therapist is an individual person that is better at dealing with certain things and not as other things.
Yeah, love it.
So yeah.
All right, what's your lesson?
Okay, I actually wrote. I was driving and watching the sunset, and I was voice recording mine. Ooh. So that's when I came up with mine last night. Okay, being a people pleaser isn't very nice, and boundaries are actually a huge sign of love.
Amen.
Lack of boundaries is not nice, and saying yes when you mean no is not kind.
You tell him, Kat.
So true.
So yeah, that's probably one of my biggest lessons of the year. A shout out to my therapist.
That's a big one.
It's just like I've just been thinking a lot about boundaries and how a lot of people, myself included, historically are very afraid of boundaries, and they think when you put a boundary down that it means that you love them less. But it's actually very loving to tell someone what your expectations are or what you were hoping for, or if something isn't okay with you.
Being honest
and
is
just
very
being
loving.
mad about it and holding it inside and letting them guess how you're feeling or what's going on. That's not very kind.
Like if you hated mayonnaise, for instance, and then you wouldn't tell someone when they were making food,
they kept making it for
and
you,
then you were upset that they made it with that, but you wouldn't tell them.
And they would get the clue,
it would be really
unfortunately.
nice. Like if you're making a meal for someone, you'd really like them to tell you if they didn't like something before you made it.
Yes.
I
and I think
that's like
in
what
my
boundaries.
past, I used to always tell myself to feel better, oh, I'm just a people pleaser. I'm too nice to tell them. No, you're not nice. No offense. Not nice. That's
being
rude.
dishonest, actually.
That is actually just afraid.
Wow, I'm so nice.
Love that for you.
By that
I love that
It's
journey
really
for you.
kind to be honest, even if it makes the person feel uncomfortable in the moment. That is way better than sitting there being secretly mad and resentful. Being resentful, that's going to come out. It's going to seep out, and that is scary versus just like maybe being a little scary in the moment, just telling the truth.
And you have to, it's like reminding yourself, I care so much about this person's relationship. I care enough to risk being honest because I value that.
Yeah, because when you don't, you're putting like a fracture in the relationship. Every single time you don't say the truth, you're actually like, it's like a chasm that's going bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's true.
And it will keep growing until you're like,
And
I'm
if
mad.
someone like tells you their boundary, that's actually a huge sign that they trust you
And respect
and they
you.
respect you.
That's
Because
like
they think you can
amending.
handle it. If
I
they're
love
like
it.
think you're a little baby wimp, you can't handle it, they're not gonna say anything. Like, oh, they can't handle it, I'm going to
love
hurt
that,
them.
Kat.
It's like, no, they are a strong individual and they can handle
I
themselves.
love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, boundaries are love.
They are.
That's what I'm
I
realizing.
love it.
Love boundary.
Okay. I don't know exactly how to explain this one, but I wrote it as accepting that you're not okay is not the same thing as giving up. Like, it doesn't mean you're giving up on yourself.
Ooh.
And that's like something I've definitely learned as of late is like, I think I have this like identity of like, oh, like I am so like responsible and like reliable, and I don't really know how else to explain that, but like, oh, I
gives a
like have
picture.
things together. So I don't want to think that I'm struggling too much because that like goes against that like identity.
Yeah.
And there's like it's like fighting with myself on that my whole life. But in order for me to like really heal the depths of myself, then it's like I had to accept for a longer and like in a deeper way, for a longer period of time and in a deeper way, like I'm actually not okay though. I'm not like perfectly responsible and reliable and like high functioning, even though like, oh, I want to be that and I wish that I was. Like, I am not for this period of time, and that's not the same thing as like what you're saying, like the victim mentality or like giving up on yourself. It's like I'm just realizing like that is part of the healing journey for me. And it doesn't have to be like depressing or like, oh, I failed, I'm broken, I'm like, this will be how I am forever. But it's like when you haven't really like accepted that, I think there comes a point to where you have to eventually heal. You have to like take that L and just be like, okay, like I am in low battery mode. I am not okay, and I can't keep telling myself, no, I'm fine, it's good, we're good, it's fine. It's like I am not fine, and keep remembering that every day, or else like for me it's just like I'm never gonna really heal if I keep fighting that truth, because how am I supposed to heal something if I keep telling myself the wound isn't there?
That's true.
So, but it's really hard to like stay with that for me, like having that kind of like identity my whole life of like not like being wounded,
perpetually be fine.
Yeah. So that's something I've really learned that my therapist loves to tell me.
Don't they love
Like,
to tell you
you are unstable. I was like, I'm not though, but I am though. Not like like I am mentally unstable at this moment. I have problems that are not stable, and that's okay. And I had to like really just take that in and know that I'm not going to be that way forever, but like that's where I'm at right now. And it's hard, you know, it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's part of the journey.
Especially when you build your
for me
identity on
But,
being fine.
And I was I feel like something that makes me think of is like maybe being in a period of rest, like needing to rest and being like,
and not being hard on yourself,
and not being
that.
because
it's
you're
like
like
not a failure. I'm not giving up.
No,
like,
this is my limitation at the moment. I actually think when you know your limitations, accept them, and say, okay, this is where I'm at right now, and I think it actually accelerates your healing.
Yes,
It's like when you break a bone, and like I remember I broke my toe, and he's like, oh, like elevate your foot and get off of it as much as you can, and it'll heal way faster. But if you never get off the bone, you're just putting all this pressure on it. And it's gonna just continue to be
and it's
strained.
like,
and get worse.
You elevate your foot and whatever for like a couple hours, and you're like, okay, that's enough. No, it's fine. I'm gonna go walk in it the rest of the day. And it's like, oh well, no, I'm resting though. I rested for an hour.
No,
but it's like
the injury gets worse.
You need to like actually just chill.
Yeah, and show yourself that self-compassion, and that will actually heal you in itself. Like the compassion that you're learning for yourself.
No, for free.
All right, we'll each do one more. Okay, so I don't exactly know how to phrase. I was trying to think of a good way to phrase these ones. I always have such a hard time with words. Out of all of us, I have the hardest time. Okay, so something about like if you like filter yourself for people close to you, then you're not like really close with them type of thing. Does that make sense?
Ooh, yeah.
I'll give a good like illustration of this. So I realized the other day, and I didn't even realize this, and I think is interesting. I caught myself thinking about this, and I was like, realizing that there's certain things it's similar to what you were saying in a way, that I have an identity. Thinking of Nick specifically, I was like, I have an identity of myself, myself to Nick, like how I want Nick to see me. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wife.
and
Nick's.
And
Your precious gaze.
And I realized that if I do something that I think goes against that, I just won't tell him. And I didn't realize I was doing that. So then I realized, oh my gosh, like I would just be like, oh yeah, certain things, you just keep them to yourself. And then I was thinking, I was like, do you? Well, certain things, yeah. I think there's certain things like, no, we really need to know that. There's like no good reason. It's just like pointless. Certain things. Like,
I popped a pimple. Gross.
Okay, like you don't need to tell anyone that.
You don't need to tell anyone you popped a pimple.
I mean, you can if you want to.
It's not necessarily.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. But that's not what I was thinking of. I was just certain things that were like, this kind of goes against the image I want Nick to have of me as this like together kind of person type of thing. And I didn't realize I was doing that. And I was like, if I
create a rift.
Let him in on this side, it's not even a side of me. It's just like a couple things here and there that I was thinking of. But I'm like, if I let him in on these things, then he's going to see me differently. But then I sat him down and I talked to him about all this, and then he's like, what? Yeah, so it wasn't as dramatic as I thought, but it was dramatic in my mind.
That's
but
real, though.
But it was a big thing because I realized that I was scared. I realized I was scared a lot of the time, but I didn't realize I was scared a lot of the time. Like, oh, I really need Nick to see me this way. So I need to make sure he only sees me this way. So then when we have this conversation, it like freed me from thinking he needed to see me a certain way because it wasn't what I built up in my head.
Oh, I love that.
And I have to say, with my BFF Kira, keeping the lines of communication open of I don't know, kind of what we're saying. I feel like the conversation of what you're saying, what I'm saying, it's like being real with yourself, I guess, and like other people being real with you is where I'm bringing it to. Is I've said to, I think when you realize what triggers you the most about you, if someone like brings something up to you, what's going to make it difficult for you to hear versus not difficult to hear, and I'll explain that, makes your relationships a lot easier. So I told Kira years ago, I told her, you can tell me anything about myself. Literally, you could say anything to me. You can say anything offensive, anything at all. Like, doesn't matter what it is. You can tell me literally anything. All you have to do is preface it with one thing. That's all you have to do is say, I don't think you're a bad person. Or I don't think you had bad intentions. That's all you have to say. And then you can follow it with literally anything you want to say. There's nothing you need to ever not say to me. Anything. Nothing will hurt my feelings. If you say that first, it will never hurt my feelings pretty much.
Wow.
Love it.
That's very self-aware.
And then she can say anything to me, and I don't think she really thinks she ever has to filter herself to me. But you have to find what is that thing, which I think it's probably that for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But probably not everyone. Yeah. I'm guessing some people have something else as their thing. So anyway, next, I guess that's a lesson too, but that's not a lesson I learned this year. Okay.
Okay.
Next one.
Here's one. Okay. And it's got a few different names to it. Okay. And okay. The concept of this is two things. It's failing to plan is planning to fail. And you run your life. Your life does not run you.
That's good.
That's the thing that I would like to bring to this table today is, okay, I live a very active life, aka I'm always doing things,
booked and busy.
right? I'm booked, I am busy, I am here, I am there, I'm in a box, I'm with a fox. I'm like Sam I am. So the problem with living like that,
With a fox.
Green eggs
Green
and
eggs and
ham,
ham.
guys.
so it's like the problem with living like that is if you don't plan it very intentionally, you get lost in your own life. And when you don't take the time to do the things that make you feel like you get even more lost. You lose yourself when you don't take the time. And maybe you don't know what those things are. So I would encourage you to really figure out what sets your unique soul on fire. What makes you feel like, wow, passionate and alive, and make sure you regularly are doing something that makes you passionate and alive, because if you don't do that, you are going to lose yourself. You're going to lose your sense of idea, of being, of just you're just going to lose yourself. So I'm learning to plan my life instead of just being like, saying yes to plans and filling up my schedule and just being like, oh, whatever plans come to me, that's my schedule.
Taking more control of it.
It's more of like, okay, I run my life. I can say yes to this. I can say no to this. I can say yes to this. I can say no to this. And I need to schedule myself in. And you know what? Maybe I have no plans tonight, but that doesn't mean I can do something. My plan tonight can be not doing whatever someone wanted me to do.
I love having
love
no
it.
That
plans.
can be my plan. Yeah, and do you know how often that is for me? Never.
Oh, that ain't right.
That's not true.
Okay, no. Recently I've been more intentional in being like, I can't have plans 6 nights of the week. I can't do that. Kath will relate to me on that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
In her former years.
One of my friends once, who's an introvert, I was talking to him, and I was like, how do you like find balance? And he was like, oh, like if I have a plan one night, I try not to plan something the next night. And I was like, I've literally never done that.
Literally.
I'm like, oh, there's 7 nights. Okay, cool. 7 plans. Got it.
Yeah, it's like taking
Wow,
the
I'm an
care to
introvert.
be the overseer of your life.
Yeah.
And
Love
plan
it.
yourself into
And just
your
like
life.
balance. Yeah. Like sometimes you need that night at home and it's really nice.
Also,
Yeah,
I
sometimes.
hate to say it, ladies, But my therapist has told me multiple times, watching TV doesn't count as recharging yourself.
I say this to Nick all the
It's so
time.
bad, but it's real.
Going on
It's
your
so
phone doesn't count
real.
as recharging either.
It doesn't.
I will say, cleaning while listening to a podcast,
That's recharging.
that recharges me.
That's
me
recharging
personally.
right there.
I don't really like TV. I would rather do podcast or YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I gotta say.
Probably
on
the
that.
same.
All right, what's
same
your
thing, though.
lesson?
Okay, my lesson is a simple lesson, and
I
that's
love
the
it.
theme of it, is simplicity. A good life doesn't have to cost much.
Ooh.
Amen.
Joy is in simplicity, and the most important things are priceless.
Yes.
True.
Yeah, this has really been the theme of the last few years to me, to be honest. Like, I feel like God has been pruning my spirit because I think I am kind of
get it,
naturally
girl.
an over consumer, and I just
Under consumption core.
yeah, I like in my former days, I just was like, ooh, I got money, spend. Ooh, I want to like get all the things and like have all the experiences and do everything. And I've just been kind of trying to simplify and just appreciate my life and like what can I do with less, and maybe like sometimes like less is actually more. Like not just in money or things, but also just like life and experiences and time, like just appreciating a simpler life that's not as like overly complicated.
Yes, and cutting things out doesn't mean you're a quitter.
Yes.
So true.
So yeah, simplicity. That's really like a big key theme, not just this year, but the last few years that I keep learning. And I feel like I'm happier than I was before.
I love it.
Like I feel like those things that I bought, or I don't know, just didn't really bring me the joy that I thought I wanted.
Yeah,
true.
because the joy is in the act of buying, not the act of having the thing.
Literally.
Unless it's these jeans, then it is in the act of having.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Okay, mine is. This is really the theme of this year and last year and in a long time. Is trying to find the balance between like moral and spiritual, like perfectionism and humanity. So like
Wow.
really walking in the balance that is so hard, but I feel like I'm actually like starting to learn it, of having a really high like seeking perfection and having a really high standard, but not being disappointed when you don't meet it, because you know you're just a human.
Yeah.
And there's such like a delicate balance in like holding both of those that is really like my life's goal, I would say, to like find every day. But I've really been learning how to do that actually in a way that I feel really good about. But yeah, I that's kind of all it is. It's just like seeking like perfection, but not expecting it of yourself and not being disappointed when you don't reach it, but you
Love
still
it.
keep trying for it.
That's kind of how I feel
love
in
that.
motherhood.
Yeah.
I like am trying to like, cause like your kids, like everything you do
Yeah.
is affecting them, but then you also know like
Yeah.
I'm
You're
just a human.
Yeah.
So you're like, I want to do all of this, but then a lot of days you're like, well, I screwed that one up.
Yeah.
But I'm
You
gonna
just,
try
like,
again tomorrow.
yeah,
You never
dust
give up on
yourself
it.
off and you try again.
You never say, well, let's just not be that good of a mom today. You're like, no, every day
Yeah.
I want to do the best I can, but
Yeah.
every day you're like,
But you know that like you won't do it perfect, but you still
Yeah.
keep trying for it. Yeah.
that is too real.
I think that theme is a lifelong
Yes.
journey of like trying to find that.
Yeah.
It's a balance that's really hard to find, but very good to seek.
Wow, I love that. Good for all of us. Those are some great,
Great
lessons,
lessons.
ladies.
Love it. Learning, living, laughing.
Loving.
That was pretty good.
That was
Okay,
good.
let's go to our 5 povs. Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, I didn't film that.
All right, guys.
Yeah, me
I got
too.
one. Oh wait.
Okay,
did you
Kat
go?
has one.
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
What is your go-to movie theater snack?
Oh, popcorn, duh.
Okay, sorry. Sweet snack. Like what candy would you get?
Like,
Or
Sour Patch
That's a
watermelons.
trick question. I don't buy
Ooh.
movie theater.
No. Imagine it's all free. It's
Oh,
just, what
okay.
do you like?
Reese's
Yeah, I was
Pieces.
gonna say buying stuff from the movie theater
Guys,
makes me want to kill
A
someone.
drink at the movies is $7.
Okay,
Yeah, you think I'm ever gonna do
I'm
that?
not saying. What? Which one is priced the best? No, we hate the prices. Let's say you snuck it in. You
Okay, so it's all free. What do you?
If it's
What's
free,
your
I'm
ideal
getting
thing?
Reese's
or
Pieces.
let's say you're having an at-home movie night. What is your favorite like snack to have?
Reese's.
Yeah,
Reese's
just
Pieces?
some kind of
Yeah.
sour.
Do you put it in the
candy.
popcorn?
No.
Okay.
And
sour
popcorn.
candy.
I love
Ooh.
that. I never
Okay.
have them, but I love them.
Milk Duds or M&Ms in
I was
the
gonna
popcorn.
say popcorn and M&Ms, and you
But
let-
popcorn,
and you
Milk
let them
Duds-
melt a little bit.
The weird thing about Milk Duds is that it's so much like mozzarella sticks, and I'll explain that. So Milk Duds, you try to eat them. You try to eat Milk Duds, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna
Milk
be a
Duds hurt
stomach
my
ache.
teeth.
They give you a stomach ache from like the sugar thing, but you eat them with popcorn, and suddenly you can eat like 2 boxes. Don't know why.
oh my gosh.
Maybe
Okay.
it's the
Love it.
fiber from the popcorn.
Perhaps.
I have no.
Let me
Does
explain
popcorn have
mozzarella
fiber?
sticks. You've seen that meme, right? Where it's like, oh, do you want a string cheese? Do you want 8 string cheese? You're like, that's too many string cheese. You're like, oh, why don't I fry it and like bread it? Now do you want 8? You're like, oh yeah, I can eat that. Mozzarella.
That's so funny.
sticks. You know what I'm talking about?
It's because of the breaded.
I love mozzarella.
know what I'm talking
sticks.
about?
I do, yeah.
It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Like no one wants to eat 8 string cheese, right?
No.
But that's more cheese than in a mozzarella stick.
Not
Those
really.
Are like this big. A
No, they're
mozzarella stick's
not.
like
Have you
this.
bought them recently? They're not that big.
They're like double the size.
But if you fry them and bread them, suddenly you can eat way more of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Why is that?
All right, guys. I
Makes
got
no
it.
sense.
Guys, one serving of AirPod popcorn contains 15% of the amount of fiber most people need.
Okay, so maybe that's why.
Wow. Guys, I got an at-home popcorn hack for you. Get Orville Redenbacher's Simply Salted,
Amen.
and then add your own butter to it.
I love it.
Because microwave popcorn, the butter always tastes
the butter's
weird.
scary.
So
So
get
wait a
it without.
minute.
it gives chemical.
And then add your own butter.
No, that's the one thing I want the butter to taste fake. Is the
Yes.
one thing is
No.
popcorn.
No, it
Everything
just-
else, no.
it
but
gives
popcorn-
chemicals. It gives
No,
poison.
I love Simply Salted. Add your own butter. Just try it and
Ooh,
tell me what
I'm
you
so
think.
making popcorn tonight.
It's so good. I just had it the other night. All
I
right.
want kettle corn.
Okay, ladies.
That reminds me of farmers market.
Yes.
Farmers market.
Kettle corn. I don't even like that much, but it's so
It's too
nostalgic.
good in like the fall time. Like you gotta have some
Yes.
kettle corn.
Good times, good times.
All right, lastly, we're going to do Sister Spotlight, where each week a different sister gets a spotlight on her. We have Get Real with Christina, Sappy or Sassy Thoughts with Kath, Lisa's Corner, Amy's Rants or Raves, Lauren's Take. And the sister this week is... Ding! Kath. Oh.
Katharelli.
Sappy or Sassy Thoughts.
Or
with
cat's soapbox.
Yeah, I guess I don't even know what it is. It's just I don't know, maybe kind of more sappy. I don't know. Soapbox? I don't know. Okay, so I'm bringing back an old one that I did in the past.
I love it.
But I'm just reinvigorating it because I feel like we need to hear this. Or at least I need to hear this. This is the theme that I'm telling myself that I'm also telling you. So maybe it's a sign if you feel like this speaks to you. Be the friend that you want in your life. If you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling isolated, if you feel like no one throws any fun parties or no one does anything fun, you should be the one
Be
to
the
plan
change.
something.
Yes.
So if you're just sitting waiting like, oh, no one reaches out to me, or like,
I did this recently.
I haven't done anything fun, reach out to
did it
someone.
twice.
Plan, go to coffee, go on a walk, plan a fun little themed dinner, or even just like maybe like have people bring charcuterie boards or something to your house. Like
Yes.
there's so many fun themes. I see them all the time on like Pinterest, Instagram of like, or like do a paint night and then bring like fun snacks.
And
Or
they do like a drink night where that's all themed about their exes. Those are so funny.
oh my gosh.
What?
Yeah,
they
they
bring,
bring like drinks and they make them like themed about their ex. It's funny.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
what?
I can't think of a
can't think
specific
of
one.
one.
You'd have to see.
like Mama's Boy, and it's in like baby bottles or something.
Oh, that's too
so
bad.
good.
I saw one recently of this. This is not a friend thing. This is actually a family. But I feel like you could do this with your friends and it'd be really fun. This family, I think it was like Thanksgiving or something. They all were sitting around the table painting portraits of each other.
I love
And then they revealed them at the end, and everyone was like dying laughing. It was so funny.
I love
We
stuff like
did that. If we got our family.
I was thinking we
like,
should
do
do that.
the boys
For
to do it
Thanksgiving,
too.
that would be so fun.
And our parents.
Yeah.
Guys.
I just think that
We should do something fun like that. I
our
think that would
modern
really liven up the
culture is really lacking in fun and and connection and creativity.
Yes.
So we got to be the change makers. We got to be the rule breakers. Get out there and plan some fun things and reach out to people and stop waiting for someone to reach out to you. If you're feeling lonely, that's your body and your mind and your soul telling you something's got to change, and you got to be the one to change it. So
Amen.
let's connect, let's live, and let's
laugh.
Let's connect with our friends and have a good life, because you deserve it.
I love it. Amen.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We love the Sim fam.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
All right, bye.
You've been listening to the Cimorelli podcast. Follow Cimorelli on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. You can also find Cimorelli on Facebook and Instagram.